Well, hey everybody, welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to talk to our kids about sex and sexual integrity. It's an easy topic to talk about. Well, not really. It's one that we all care a lot about and want to encourage our kids as they establish healthy relationships and personal boundaries. But it's difficult to know how exactly to have those conversations, what exactly to say. And so in this video, we're going to spend a little bit of time breaking down how just to do that. So we're going to start with the preschool and elementary phase, and then we will move on to the middle school and high school phase. And within each of those age phases, we will give you some specific tips. So for preschool and elementary, here are the three things that you want to make sure that you are being intentional about. Number one, we're going to start at an early age talking with them about this. And a great way to do that is by helping them to name their parts. As they're having a bath, even as young preschoolers, as you're naming different parts, also name their sexual parts and continue to talk about what those parts are. They may even ask you questions about their parts, and you need to be ready to offer them the proper names for their parts. So it's important for them to know what the names of their parts are and what the actual names are, not any nicknames or anything like that. We want to teach them the proper names for their parts. Secondly, you can affirm their questions as good questions. So they may ask you questions that you're not ready to answer because they may ask you them at inopportune times. But be ready to answer and affirm their questions. You can say, I'm glad that you asked me that. You can always ask me questions that you have about your body and about anything. So affirm their questions and be ready to answer questions as they arise. The third thing is to talk about this often. This is not something that we talk about once. It's something that we talk about over the course of our relationships with our kids as we have the opportunity to prepare them for adulthood for the first 18 years of their life. And so we want to talk about this often. And one of the best ways to help you talk about it often is to start talking about it early. When you talk about it with your kids when they're young, it is easier to continue talking about it with them as they get older. As your students reach the end of elementary school into 4th and 5th grade, they are ready to understand the details of what sex is and how it works. And so you can be ready to have that conversation by starting at an early age, talking about some of the simple things that will lead to the more complex conversations later on. All right, let's move on to middle school and high school. In the middle school and high school phase, we've got things are changing more dramatically and much more quickly. And so we want to help our students to understand what's changing. So the first thing we want to do is interpret what's changing, and then we want to coach them towards healthy relationships. So what does it mean to interpret what is changing? Well, we want to help them understand the changes that their bodies are going through. What's happening to their body? Why is it happening? We actually took the opportunity to watch the video that they were going to watch in their health class in 5th grade, and we talked about it ahead of time, and we used that as a tool for a conversation with our 5th grader. So that would be an idea for you there. So help them to interpret what's happening to their bodies and why that's happening. Help them to understand that that's a good thing. This is how God created them, and it's how their body was made to develop, even though it seems a little weird and awkward and uncomfortable at times. Answer questions about sex in detail. At this stage, especially in middle school, they need to know the details, because if you're not giving them the details, they will be getting their questions answered either by searching for it on Google or by listening carefully on the school bus or getting their information from their friends. And we always want to be in a position to give our students and our kids more information than their friends will give them, because we can trust that the information we're giving them is the right information. So, and you want to encourage them to ask you any question anytime, and then affirm them when they ask that question. It's difficult to ask a question about their bodies and about what's changing. And so affirm them and create a safe place in your home to do that. All right, and then we want to coach them towards healthy relationships. What does it look like to coach them towards healthy relationships? Well, first and foremost, you want to stay actively aware of their relationships, and then take the opportunity to affirm the healthy relationships and wise choices that they are making. You want to increase your positive affirmation and affection during this time, which seems ironic because this is an age when we feel like our students might begin to kind of push away. Well, they are pushing away a little bit, and that's good, but they still need positive affirmation and affection from us. And the last one on this is, as we coach them towards healthy relationships, it's important to discuss dating and family values and personal boundaries. And I would encourage you to not just lay down certain rules and expectations for them, but have a discussion about what those rules and expectations and boundaries might be. The more that you can encourage your student to arrive at those same boundaries with you, the more that you arrive at that decision together, the better you are in supporting the decision that they've made, and you've helped them to arrive at a decision rather than just to follow what they have been told. Certainly, our students need to continue to respectfully follow what they've been told. But at this age, it's important for them to understand and to begin to take responsibility for their own decisions and their own thoughts and their own plans for their future. And so this is really that phase when things begin to turn into more of a coaching role for us. And so as you approach these conversations, do it as in the form of a coach. Don't be afraid to give your values and to lay down certain rules and expectations and boundaries. They need those. But they also desperately need an opportunity to begin to discover what those personal boundaries are and how they are arriving at them, so that when you're not there, they still maintain those personal boundaries and the decisions that they've made, that they've been coached towards. So those are just a few things to keep in mind as you have these crucial conversations with your kids and with your students. If you want to look at a great timeline of how and when to have certain conversations on this, you can text the word PHASE, that's PHASE, to the number 444999. Again, that's text PHASE, PHASE, to 444999. Have a great time having these conversations. It can be awkward at first, but it's so important for us to establish this connection with our kids and to establish that we're a safe place for them to come and talk about their questions about their bodies, their questions about sex, and our home and our relationships with them as parents is the first place for them to get the best information.